Welcome back, everyone. You are in for a treat today. I have Allie Bloom and Katie Patterson with us today. They are amazing Facebook group, extraordinaire coaches, mentors. I don't know what else to say here, ladies. I know we're going to get into it. And part of why I wanted to invite them on here is because people get really weird about Facebook groups. They can be kind of poo-poo about Facebook, but the reality is Facebook is still the most active platform, and it's got the most users, and Facebook groups have been very profitable. And Allie and Katie are going to share exactly how they created a seven-figure company from Facebook groups, how to, make your own Facebook group profitable, how to use other people's Facebook groups, AKA borrow other people's audiences to call in a massive amount of qualified leads and so on. So when they started their business in February of 2020, they really sped past seven-figure mark in less than 2 years by really focusing on organic growth, by the way, and launch strategies in their free Facebook group. And they used to be really big on Instagram, right? And that was kind of their love until they realized, holy cow, right? Facebook groups are amazing. So they have had over 3,500 happy and thriving students that have gone through their program to learn how to do what they've done, which is really significant, especially when it's just been, 2+ years. And what they do is they help you bring on the organic leads and sales and ditch the constant grind of traditional social media trends with Facebook groups. So they're going to show you how to do that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So they actually have over 74,000 very active members in their Facebook group. Their Facebook group is called Women Entrepreneurs Success. So we're going to share that again, of course. We're going to put that in the show notes. But while you're listening, why don't you hop right on over to the Facebook group so you can follow along and see Allie and Katie in the group and see already why we have them on today. So welcome, ladies. I'm excited.
We're excited to be here. And it's actually Women Entrepreneurs Success Through Community, if you're hopping over right now.
Oh, okay.
Full name. So we're excited to see you over there and we're excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, I remember, maybe this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm an OG in the online space, which is weird to me because I feel like I've been in business for about 10 years. It's actually been 20 years. And so when I started my business, social media wasn't even a thing. And then and then I finally clued in and hired a business coach. I didn't even know they were a thing, right? So for 5 years, I'd just been like throwing spaghetti at the wall, and I was successful, but I didn't even know how I was successful. I do now when I look back. But point is, everyone's like, oh, you got to get on Facebook. I'm like, Facebook is for teenagers. How is that? That's going to hurt my brand. And sure enough, I went on Facebook, and everyone from high school that have never really moved on with their life were sending me friend requests, which I had the feeling was going to happen, which is why I was avoiding Facebook. And I thought, wait a minute, there are people that are making this successful. I don't have to accept their friend request just because they know me. If I'm going to use Facebook, what do I want my intention to be? So I decided I'm going to show up in my visionary energy. I'm going to be inspiring people. I'm going to be helping people have come to Jesus moments, basically about their business and various things, but in a lighthearted way. So I got really clear on my intentions, and then Facebook really worked out well for me, right? Because so many people, as you know, poo-poo any platform, right? The Facebook doesn't work for me. Well, it's not Facebook's job to work for you. Facebook is a platform. It's your job to figure out how to use it, right? So I'm going to plot that into the field right now because I'd love to hear what your initial thoughts were on Facebook before you really realized how much of a goldmine it was for you.
Well, we both have different stories, I think, with this, but I started my first business ever on Facebook as well, just using my personal page. So I've been on this platform for a while, but then when Instagram became really big, I headed over there. And honestly, Instagram, I felt like I was just putting out content and I never knew who was seeing it. I never knew if it was doing anything for my business. Facebook, the personal page, and especially the Facebook groups, once we found that, I always felt like a really good community connection. And I really felt like it was such a good place to create real deep relationships versus other platforms where it's more one to many. This always felt really easy to create a really deep connection. Wouldn't you agree, Katie?
Yeah. And my business, actually, before Allie and I came together, I'm a branding photographer in New York City. And my biggest thing was I wanted to find communities that were filled with women entrepreneurs, that were filled with my ideal clients. And when I was over on Instagram, like you just said, it was very just like one to many. It was one to one. It was like trying to find that specific person, following different profiles, commenting on different things. And it was really tedious finding each individual person. So when I moved over to Facebook groups, I was asking myself, where could I find a larger community of women entrepreneurs that I could then make connections with, build relationships, collaborate with, and potentially find branding photography clients as well.
But in general, Facebook has always been my fave. Beyond anything else. I mean, I now love TikTok, of course. I'm still into Instagram, but Facebook has always been the first place. It's like the OG social media platform. And I know a lot of people poo-poo it, but there are so many things you can do on Facebook that you cannot do anywhere else. And Facebook groups are one of those things that they have really mastered. And if you know how to use it for your business, it is incredibly powerful.
It can skyrocket your business for sure.
I agree with you. I feel like Facebook is very intuitive. It's super easy to figure out. I have thought, if I could find an interface like Facebook, because I agree, I think even just the way that it's designed technologically, it allows for deep connections and relationship building in a way I just haven't been able to find in any other platform. Even for my paid groups, I create a Facebook group around that group because things like Slack, no offense, Slack, if you're listening, other places like that, I just don't feel like it facilitates conversation and builds community the same way that a Facebook group does. And so I'd love to hear how you went from, oh, I've got to find this thing that I can't find, to now you're here. You've got this 7-figure plus company with an amazing Facebook group, but also generating income just from your group, let alone other people's groups.
I think the biggest foundation of it is the family vacation in 2020 when we were sipping on margaritas on the back porch, and Allie was actually looking for some one-to-one full scope business coaching clients. And I had told her that I had found this Facebook group. There was at the time, I don't even know how many.
500,000 people in there, 500,000 women entrepreneurs.
I had told her I saw a post that someone was looking for a business coach. And it kind of stemmed into this, well, if this other person's Facebook group has somebody looking for a business coach, why don't we create a Facebook group where people are looking for our services, our products, and our help?
Yeah. So Katie had told me about that. I went in there, I found 2 full scope business clients in less than 2 weeks. And I thought to myself exactly what Katie said. I was like, you know what? Like, if I can do this in someone else's group, what is possible if we had our own group? We could bring together our target demographic. We could have a place where the focus was not just on us, right? I think so many other social media platforms, the focus is on you. You have to be the teacher. You have to be the credibility. You have to be on social 24/7, toting what it is that you do. In Facebook groups, the hack is that you bring your entire network together. You bring your target demographic together. They're speaking to you, but they're also speaking to each other. So they're happy to be there. They're creating community. That is creating a relationship to the admin of the group inherently, right? Just because they have this safe space now where you brought people who are like-minded together, they feel seen, they feel heard. And then you are the person that they credit that to as the admin. It's like this very easy relationship building platform, unlike anything else. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what started it, was her saying, oh, I found this other Facebook group. I said to her, we both have the same target demographic. At the time, we weren't even working together. Let's just create a Facebook group together. We can both pull clients from there. And it stemmed from there, because within 14 days, we had built from 0 to 1,000 members using the signature strategy that we still teach today and that thousands of people have used. And we were like, well, let's just teach people that. That could be incredibly helpful for people to start their business. Because I don't know if you've experienced the same thing, but the majority of our clients, the main thing that stops them from starting their business is that they do not know how to create an audience. And any other platform, it's a slow grow. Right? It's really slow on Instagram or TikTok. You're at the whims of the algorithm. Facebook groups have less kind of algorithm locking, I would say, to growth than anything else that I've found so far. Wouldn't you agree?
Especially if you know the algorithm and you know how to work it in your favor. For
Yeah.
sure.
Exactly. You can grow really quickly on Facebook, especially specifically with groups. And so people who have never had an audience, never had leads, they can finally find a place where they can grow really fast and find people who are actually qualified.
And I think it works too for those who are looking to scale their business. So those who are, hitting the 10K months, but looking for 20, those who are in six figures, but looking for multi six figures, because when it comes down to that, we know it also comes down to the numbers, right? The number of people you have opting in, the number of people following you. By increasing that, you're increasing those revenue numbers as well. So we've had a lot of 6-figure, 7-figure earner friends who came over to us, who are on IG, on TikTok, and are like, what are you girls doing? And realizing the power of expanding their audience even to Facebook groups and allowing their business to take that next step, go to that next level.
I think what I love about this too, because I know everyone listening can relate and I can relate, is that you think you're going to engage in a business activity for one reason, right? Like you wanted to find some more clients. And then because you couldn't really find what you were looking for, you just created it and filled the gap. And then all of a sudden it takes you in a totally other trajectory. You were probably already called to do it anyways, right? But now you're finding yourself over here and actually you're answering way more prayers than you might have in your sort of core business that you were originally working with, because you're now literally compounding your magic basically, right? Without ever, and on top of that, I think especially because it was never your intention to get people and like be grabby and stuff. You really were trying to fill a gap and be of service, not just to you, but other people, because you recognized it was needed. And I genuinely believe that when we're focused on service as the primary driver, it weirdly just makes us way more profitable than when it's this grabby getting sort of energy. And to that end, actually, I think my thing when I had my Facebook group before is you have people that are in there to receive for sure, but you get a lot of grabby taking sort of energy. And because I'm so sensitive to energy and I run a very strong queen energy, I just want to be a cat and kind of, boop them and be like, get out of here because you're being takey. Right. And I get that that happens. I'd be interested to know, because I know this actually isn't the case in your group. Of course, you're going to have a small percentage of people that are in there just being weird or spammy or whatever, right? But I know in your group, you've created a culture that is way more based on contribution and receiving than taking, even though it's the same kind of energy. So what do you feel you did? Like, what were the intentions you set, or how did you even build it structurally to create a culture that people want to be in?
I think the first part of it is just the way we set our group up, right? And we teach all of our clients this. It comes down to having the right settings in your group, having the right, what we call calling card. So that's your title, your cover photo, your description. So it's very clear who this group is for, what the group is about. We're open to anyone joining who identifies with the description and the cover photo and the title and feels that calls to them. But we really, on the forefront, for ourselves and our clients, set our groups up so that the expectation is very clear and we're, in a sense, safeguarding ourselves and those members before anyone can even maybe jump in and have that unpleasant behavior, right?
Yeah. I mean, the way that you set it up on the back end can really influence how the group feels, who's contributing, the comments that are coming in. And also, I will say, our Facebook group members, if any of you are listening, you guys are like warriors, because you're like, if there is a comment that you do not agree with, you will report it right away. So we don't have an issue. Like, we have lots of posts coming in, of course, and lots and lots and lots of comments. But if somebody sees something that looks a little questionable, they let one of our admins or moderators know immediately. We take care of it. So it's about the culture. It's about people feeling ownership of the group themselves and wanting it to be a safe space. But really at the beginning of it all, it's all about how you set up the Facebook group, who you allow to post, how you filter comments, all of those things. And those are things that we teach every single one of our clients as well. And I will say, I just want to respond to that too, the little grabby, the people who are, I think a lot of people say they're freebie takers, right? Katie and I, we embrace freebie takers, right? Because if you have the right sales processes set up on top of the Facebook group itself, those freebie takers will also buy from you. We have had so many sort of graspy freebie takers end up becoming clients because we have a system in place to not just grow the Facebook group and engage the Facebook group, but to sell in a really service-based way and to listen to what our audience is saying and create solutions to their problems with our programs.
Mhm.
So I love what you just were talking about too. I know we're kind of going away from the initial question, but I agree so much with what you just said about staying in flow, aligned, listening, being in service. I have never felt before. I've had multiple six-figure businesses before this one. Never felt so just like called to each thing that we do by the universe, God, whatever you believe in. We have such a relationship with kind of source with this business. I always feel like we know when we're on the right track or when we're not. When we're on the right track with this business, things just flow. When we're listening, when we're responding versus just staying very stuck in what we think should happen, we see so much success and it just pours in, right? And I just want to say one more thing before you go, because I know you want to add to this, Katie. But it's like the community aspect of the Facebook group helps with this. Is that what you were going to say?
I was just going to say for anyone listening right now who's like, yeah, but like, what about that one person who's just driving me insane or not fall? We like to say hashtag blocked and blessed. So just know too, I love everything Allie's saying, and I completely agree. But just like for anyone listening, if there's that one person who's driving you insane, you are the leader of the group.
Yes.
While it's about community and about the people inside of there, if someone is causing any kind of trouble, you do not need to give them any of your energy. Hashtag blocked and blessed and continue on.
Yes.
With growing your group and serving your clients.
Okay, that's a good cut. Yeah, yes. I agree. Because if you're listening and you're like, well, okay, I'm going to put up with that annoying person one more day. You don't have to. That's also not necessary. But yeah, the community aspect of it really helps because they do kind of, when you have a Facebook group that's growing and engaged, they will let you know, unlike any other platform, in the communication that you have, what it is they're struggling with. Because it's a closed community, because you have all people who are like-minded in the same place, unlike any place where it's one-to-many, Instagram, TikTok, those other social media platforms, they feel comfortable sharing their struggles, knowing that they're going to be held because everyone there is like-minded and either looking for the same thing or struggling with the same thing or wanting to achieve the same goals. So as the admin, the creator, it gives you such incredible information that if you take and you create solutions to those issues, you will see sales in your business. It will never feel like you're selling. It will only feel like you're serving.
I love that. And going back to what you shared, if I'm hearing you correctly, which is actually really cool, and just a friendly reminder for all of us listening, you've been basically guided there to be the steward of a group. Like the group has a consciousness and you kind of got tapped to create this consciousness. And then as long as you keep saying, how can we be a great steward of this consciousness that has its own trajectory, has its own contract, basically, that it wants to fulfill, it's going to pull forward the people that it wants to serve and, all of the things, then it actually liberates, I'm projecting obviously, but it kind of liberates the pressure of performing for your group or, try to micromanage some things or whatever. If we can be an allowance of the group, because we know our programs call forward people. We know our website calls forward people. We know our podcast calls forward people because it all has its own consciousness. Why would that be any different than a Facebook group as an example, right?
Absolutely. And I think Katie and I love to be energetically aligned with where we're headed. We're very quote unquote woo-woo spiritual, however you want to talk about it. We really are. And we layer real strategy on top of that. And those two things mixed together, those are what creates seven-figure businesses. Listening, presence, being guided, allowing, and also strategy on top of it.
Knowing the data.
Having really, really strategic sales processes, knowing exactly what happens when somebody comes into the group, the entire customer journey. But what I love about working with Katie and our programs is that while we are very spiritual and while we really focus on mindset ourselves, and ultimately, especially our higher level clients, we also talk about mindset. Our intro programs, our programs that help you just start and grow your Facebook group, are very step by step by step, you cannot miss. And that's on purpose, because the Facebook group, yes, it has a consciousness, but also there are so many incredible things about Facebook groups that if you know how to use it strategically and kind of like squeeze every bit of life and every bit of client generation out of it, lead generation out of it, I'm sorry, there's so much opportunity. You can build your email list just through your membership questions alone. We built to, I mean, not all of them have come from there, but I would say a good 80% of our 70,000 person email list came from our membership questions as people come through the door of our Facebook group. And then knowing how to turn those new leads into sales through your welcome post, through your comment backs, through live launching inside of your Facebook group. That is what had us from, in March of 2020, making $2,500 and jumping on a table being like, success, to like 5 months in having a 40K launch, and then being like, wow, there is some really big potential here. And then scaling to our first 100K month, it was 121,000, 10 months in.
Yeah, less than a year.
In less than a year. It was all because we said, okay, how can we take every tiny piece of this Facebook group and use it to its best capacity, while listening, while aligning with what people need, while giving them what they want. So we know that if we have a sales process that works, it will sell and people will be excited about the products. So it all works together. It's never just one or the other. There's always strategy layered on top. Even if you are the most energetically aligned, in flow, passionate person, you still have to have the strategy. I truly believe that.
I love that. And I think too, like, the energy in a Facebook group really matters for those of us that are energetically sensitive, right? So I can go in big groups and be like, oof. And there's some big groups on Facebook, like the people that run them are amazing. And I know that they creatively represent the numbers differently than what's actually true. If you've got a big Facebook group, but literally half of them are spam accounts, and maybe another 25% aren't even entrepreneurs, but you're claiming that it's an entrepreneur group, right? Where yes, it maybe is still a big group, but from a true numbers perspective, maybe it's got literally like 75% less members than what they claim, right? Like legitimate, or I should say like real accounts and like people that should be there kind of thing, right? That kind of stuff too doesn't land very well, because then someone like me goes, okay, but if you're willing to like misrepresent and creatively market things to get, and you're being creative with your numbers, then I have to kind of go, what else is going on in here that isn't maybe adding up, right? And with me being a 6'2" in human design, like integrity is a massive, like standards of excellence and integrity are just always going to be a huge filter for me. So not everyone is wired that way, but for those of us that are energetically sensitive, we can kind of feel. My point is, I can tell, and I know all of you can. So if you can, let us know, message us and let us know. Like Katie and Allie, you're the real deal. Like you genuinely care. You love your community. It's pouring through you. And I've got to imagine that's a huge part of your success, because we all want to feel like we're more than a number, even in a group of 74,000 members.
Yeah. And just to that point, one of the things we teach in one of our trainings is we actually show behind the scenes of our engagement. Because if you look at your settings and you look at your engagement stats, that's one of the things that we point out, even just in our like basic free trainings, is that the engagement is more important than the number of members. So while we celebrate all 74,000, each person, while we celebrate each of them inside our group, what we're really looking at, what we talk about in our free trainings, what we talk about with our clients, is who's actually engaging inside of that group and what is that number. And we've always been really happy that that number has exceeded our expectations of the number of people who are engaging daily inside of our Facebook group. And then inside of our programs with our clients, we teach them how to source with other Facebook groups, how to what we call viral post in other Facebook groups and in their own, to attract those who are going to not only come to the group and increase those numbers, but who are also going to genuinely engage inside of that group as well. Because at the end of the day, that's what's helping in the algorithm. That's what's pushing you in search and suggestion, are the people who are, it's not the number, the 74,000, it's the people who are engaging inside of the group and interacting.
It's not about vanity metrics ever, not with Facebook groups. And yes, I agree. We celebrate every person in that 74,000. And we are so grateful to have 74,000 members in our Facebook group. But when we first started the business, we had 58 members in our Facebook group, and we were celebrating that. And then we were celebrating 1,000. And we built like the first, I would say maybe $250,000 in revenue was all built on, we went from 0 to 1,000 members in 14 days. It doesn't need to be these huge numbers, but yes. So I love what you just said.
And to that point too, if you look around at other Facebook groups that are maybe larger than ours, have 100,000, 150,000, 200,000. If you really look at the engagement inside of there, it's not getting the same amount of comments or interactions that our group is getting.
Right.
Yeah. I do want to say too, because it's not, I don't realize how much I'm paying attention until you're saying things. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually true. I've noticed with you that, because I'm hearing, questions in everyone's head that's listening right now going, oh my God, I want viral posts, but really, can you really know? Like, not only can Katie and Allie teach you how to have a viral post, but they have viral posts all the time. Like, there's literally a formula. It's not just a one-hit wonder, which can happen for most people, right? Where they're like, oh my God, I got 200 comments or 80 shares or whatever is the big deal, right? But you ladies consistently have viral posts, and then of course show people how to do that. And they legitimately, your clients, that's why so many people love you, because you're actually showing them the paint by numbers, which is what we all want, because we don't want to have to interpret or intuit our way through this stuff. Please just tell me, like, literally, I want you to speak to me like a kindergartner. Go do this thing, click this button, like do, right?
Well, Katie is a school teacher. That's exactly what we do. I'm like that. She's like that. We're both like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's obviously a benefit to having people be resourceful and figure things out. But from a teach me how to have a successful Facebook group, or teach me how to make 6 figures from a Facebook ad, or whatever people are teaching out there, the more paint by numbers I can have, the quicker I can get results. And then I'm going to be telling everyone, oh my God, you need to go and see so-and-so, whatever.
Exactly. And I think what's so interesting about this is mine and Katie's zone of genius, right? We know how to grow a Facebook group, sell inside of a Facebook group, do viral posts that get consistent comments, find Facebook groups for you to promote and that are not your own. We know how to do all of that. When you work with a coach who knows how to do whatever strategy it is that you're looking to like really refine, and you get to stay in your zone of genius. That's the thing. I think so many people feel like they need to know it all, do it all, be the person who forges the path themselves. But if you are anything but a Facebook group expert, then you need a Facebook group expert to shepherd you and give you the step-by-step, the paint by numbers, so that you can continue to focus on what you're passionate about. And we can step in and help you get the leads, get the people who want to hear from you, understand how to engage them. You don't have to do everything yourself. This is something I think is such in the industry. It's like, oh, I have to know how to make my social media go viral, and I have to know how to create my content. And I also have to be a relationship expert or a health coach or whatever it is that you teach. You don't have to know both things. That's a myth. I just want to dispel that myth right here and now. Let the people who are the experts teach you to do the things that they're expert in, so that you can go and be exactly who you're meant to be.
Yeah.
I love that you shared that, because I'm a big believer that when you leave your zone of competence and really do your best to stay in your zone of genius, that's where the money really shows up.
Exactly.
And so it's occurring to me that among other things, of course, that'll be a big reason why you were so successful so quickly, because you committed to being your zone of genius so that other people could, right?
Yes.
And the other thing I think too is that while you're successful, you're really way more focused on getting results for other people. And I do notice, I mean, because we know in this online marketing world, there are people that are always celebrating their own successes, which I'm support, because I do think we under celebrate ourselves. But I'm talking about the coaches that only seem to be getting results for themselves and not really for other people. And then there's the folks that are constantly talking about, here's the results I got from my clients. And that's who people like you and I want to work with, right? When we're at a certain level of entrepreneurship, we're like, I don't care if you got results. Can you get me results? Right? Like,
Mhm.
Of
can you get
course.
me results? And so to that end, though, because before we wrap up, I wanted to, one of the things I love sharing with our audience is, what do you feel is the one or two major mindset shifts you needed to make to be able to call it, like, to create a 7-figure company? Because we know that there's certain things that happen. And then what are like the one or two things that, you know, when you tweaked it, it really helped you to, like, the outer strategies, right? That helped you to create 7 figures.
For me, so I know we both have very different stories on this. So I had been an entrepreneur for a while when Katie and I started this business together. I had never hit 7 figures, but I had hit 6 figures pretty consistently in all the businesses that I had created previously. And right before this, I had put my like heart and soul into a company that I was very excited to create. It was a tech company. It ended up never leaving the ground for various reasons, which was heartbreaking to me. But to me, when I started this business, I had been around a lot of $1 million earners. And I was thinking to myself, these people are no different than me. I can do this too. 100% I can do this. I'm going to prove to myself that I can do this. And once I decided that I wasn't afraid to make the 7 figures, that is when Katie called me up and said she found this Facebook group. And then everything just rolled from there. It was so quick. And every benchmark that I hit, that we hit together, you know, 2,500, 5,000, 40,000, $100,000 months, right? I had to up level my energetic like minimum, right?
Mm.
Because it's scary.
Mhm.
Success is almost scarier than failure for most people, right?
Mhm.
So when I decided that I was worthy of it, and that I was going to listen, and I was going to layer the strategy, and I was going to not allow myself to fail. And I just want to dispel this myth right now. Katie and I, we tumble and fall and fail every time we put out something new. The difference between us and everyone else who is not making 7 figures is that we get back up and we say what went wrong, and we do it again until it works, right? That is literally the only difference between 7 figures and 6 figures, or 6 figures and nothing, right? Is that you do not let up. And if something isn't working over and over again, you don't try and, you know, do it. You don't, it's not the definition of insanity, is not what I'm talking about. Do things until, you know, you know what I'm saying? You might have to cut this part. Sorry about that. But like, we just get up, we try again. I'll stop from there.
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest thing, and this is for everybody, is we all know this, especially like being at the point we're at now, right? Is when you are about to up level, things get hard. Tech goes wrong. You don't get the number of opt-ins you need. You know, your kid gets sick and is suddenly home for the entire week, whatever it is. When you are about to up level, I'm like getting the chills. Like, I know this is right. It's just like things get hard. And the difference that I see for me, let's just speak for me personally first, is when things get hard, I think it's impossible. And I would think that this isn't for me, or it's not going to happen. But the second that I would not, and I don't want to say push through like aggressively, but the second I would like sit with myself and say that I am worthy of this and talk through why this hurdle is not the thing that's going to keep me from taking that next step or going next level, that's when I started to see success. That's when I said to myself, I can do this. I am a business coach. I know what I'm talking about with Facebook groups. I know what I'm talking. I know how to make people money, right? I know how to take people to the next level. And so once I accepted that and who I am with myself, and I was comfortable with that, that's when growth and success started happening for me. And I can see it in our clients as well too. When they're sitting there where I was, and they're in that, like, something is keeping me from making this happen, right? And I know what it is because I'm standing there saying, I was there, come take my hand, come on, like, come up, you got it. But a lot of times, and for anyone listening, just know if you're in that place, we've all been there. And so this is the difference between someone who sees success and someone who does not, is someone who can, whatever way, mentally, physically, emotionally, break through that ceiling. That's where the next level of success comes. And I'm sorry to say, once you've mastered that, there's going to be another up level too. So, and I think we were talking about that right before we started this, right? There's going to be another up level too. And it's just going to be probably just as crazy, if not even more.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my gosh, so good. That's so true. I never even thought about it in that way, Katie. It's like, yes, there is going to be a test right before you break through the next barrier.
Mhm.
And so many people think that that test means it's not meant to be. That test means you're right on track and you have to go through it.
Mhm.
Oh, it's so
Mhm.
good. So true.
I love that. And, it's occurring to me because I can't really say when I made this shift. For all of you listening, if you're not at seven figures yet, nothing wrong with that, of course, that's great. But I'm going to share this because I think it's wisdom that we can all benefit from. And I do feel like by the time we hit seven figures, we realize this, which is that everything in business that doesn't go right or that goes right, doesn't matter. But let's just focus on the stuff that doesn't go as planned. It's just information. It only becomes hard when we decide to place meaning on it. If we go, oh, okay, well, if I really look at this objectively, did I market as much as I could have? Did I price this effectively? Was my copy clear? Did I have enough team support? Was my mindset on board? Like there's a forensic investigation basically that you can do on it without it being charged, and just be like, oh, this is just information. Oh, I put out this offer and 2 people signed up and I was convinced 1,000 people would. Okay, that's information. What did I miss here? Oh, I didn't pull my audience. Oh, it turns out they want this thing, and I know we get there by the time we get to seven figures, but I do feel like by the time we hit the 500K mark, we can get to that point, because the motivation is for most people when they get there, if they've gotten there, they're usually a growth mindset person. They want to get to seven figures, and it's not going to be the hard work, right? It's going to be the not taking things personally and really just looking at the information and being like, okay, this is what the stats, this is what my thingy is in my Facebook group. This is what it's showing me, that my engagement is here. So, oh, my engagement's high. Awesome. How can I keep it there? Or if it's low, okay, that's just information. What needs to shift within the group so that I can, do whatever. So I appreciate that. And I know for all of you listening, you're leaning in. I get that. And there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, there is a formula involved. So it's not like we could really go into that in great depth on the podcast, but I wanted to introduce you to Katie and Allie, because they're going to be able to show you, and they have 3,500 and counting successful students, not just to mention, your own selves, right? And your success. So this isn't like a fly by night thing. This isn't a pop-up lemonade stand that's going to go away. Like this is a big deal, and they're going to be able to show you. So I want to at least introduce you to a resource that I really believe in, which is, of course, you ladies, but also your program, right? So that if you're feeling like, hey, I have a Facebook group, but it's not really doing what I would like it to do, or I have a Facebook group, but I really want to learn how to leverage other people's audiences, aka Facebook groups, to really catapult my own, or I have a Facebook group, but I don't even know how to create a buying culture in my group or whatever it is. You ladies can help people with that. So let's let them know how they can stay in touch, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, the best place to find us is inside our Facebook group. So that's Women Entrepreneurs Success Through Community. You'll find us there. And that's where a lot of, again, like when you join, you see that membership question, grab that freebie we have, grab that free training, drop your email, hop on in. You will, within 24 hours, be tagged in a welcome post, grab whatever freebies in there, introduce yourself in there as well. Look around, see what other resources, not only that we have, but we have a lot of amazing women in there who have resources as well in all different kinds of industries. So look around, see what help you can find, see what you can give. It's just a really beautiful place to be.
Thank you. And for everyone listening, we are going to put that in the show notes, because we realize that you're probably multitasking right now and maybe can't find a pen or whatever. So we've got you. Ladies, I'm so grateful that you shared your time with us today and your wisdom, because I know your time is valuable and I know that you genuinely wanted to do this because you love pouring into entrepreneurs. So I really appreciate you being here and sharing your energy and your wisdom and so on. And thanks to all of you for being here and listening. We know your time is valuable, so we really focus on trying to add as much value as we can in this kind of platform. So thanks for being here. We look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great week. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.